Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and we are in the designer for From the Depths, but we're not going to be building a complete ship today. I thought I'd have a look at a couple of things after some comments and also bits in the forum where people are having problems with multi-barreled cannons. How do you build them? How do you make them work properly? So I've seen some basic problems. So what I've got here is a little cannon test area, and down the side here you have your normal single barreled type of cannon, obviously armoured here, but it's a basic simple cannon, just a custom cannon, which is not simple in any way but custom, everything down one barrel. But how do we make a dual barrel cannon? So we'll just have a go at creating a dual one here. So first of all, you've got to keep everything separated. Obviously going to start with a turret, and it's going to be easier to start with a precision turret. Now with a dual, with a standard normal custom cannon, if I was at this point, I would just put some 6-ways up here and say round the back maybe, and then put my firing piece on here, so we could then just create the firing piece and we're done. There we go, and then just attach whatever we like to it. Yep, and away we go. It's all going to work quite happily. But with a dual turret, the dual gun system, the problem you have, if I'll just demonstrate, is if you were to try to line up with a couple of bits on the side, okay, and let's just say you ended up with something looking like this, which I think I've seen in some designs and they wonder why it all goes wrong. Right, if we get the firing piece and we put one there and one there, now the problem now is that when we, let's say we add an ammo barrel to here and here, people would expect, oh, that ammo barrel belongs to that one because it's closer, but it's not done on closeness. If I put the interface back on, this is connected to 5455, which is this gun, and this one is connected to 5455 as well, which is this one, and I think you'll find that that is the first one that was put down. So if I delete those down again, so if we just go to the firing piece and put that one down, 1704, 3010. Get an ammo box, 1704, first one that is put down, 1704, 1704, 1704, even if I put it on there, 1704. So it goes to the first firing piece which is added to this network, this series. Think of all the 6-way connectors as being a network as such, but only one device can pull off that network, and it's the first one you put down. So how do we sort it? Well, as with a lot of things in From the Depths and such programs, it's attention to detail, and you've got to make sure these 6-ways don't touch. Now my way of personally doing this is I create there's a few ways of doing this. Let's start that out again. There is a few ways of doing this particular separation, but the best way is to create a separating wall, so certainly at first, so that you know where the two sides are going to meet. So let's just create, and I would normally just create this from metal blocks, and let me just start this again so we know we're starting from afresh, because otherwise it gets a little confusing. Right, okay, so we start with the new precision turret, and I'm going to put it right on the edge here so that you can see how it's all, we'll be able to see it from underneath effectively. Now what I would now do is get, say, a metal block. Could be a wood block. I'm having to use a metal block because my cannons, I like them, the bit that's in the centre, to be really, really strong. So let's say that's how high it's going to be. We're going to go a little higher because we're going to set where the firing piece is going to come out. That's our next point. Now here you've got a choice: dual guns, quad guns. It's all going to use the same process. Now, to help me initially, I'm going to create some stone blocks just out the front to act as a additional wall, so I can see immediately which side the guns are supposed to be. Yeah, so I'll add that in there as well to stop any separation. Now I can start putting my 6-way connectors in. So in this case, we're only creating a small gun. We're not creating anything too massive. And then say on this one, let's say I'm going to go around the side. Now there's two ways to connect, a couple of ways to connect to a firing piece. I can't put a firing piece directly on here at the moment, but to show you, but I might be able to. But basically, on a firing piece, to connect a 6-way, it's either got to connect on the side or the top. You see you've got Q menu. If I put it behind, not connected to firing piece. If I put it, as you can see, if I put it below the firing piece, where are we? Custom cannons, firing piece. It goes on the top, but this connected below, not connected to a firing piece. So it's only on the sides or the top the 6-way connector can connect. So one of my particular favourite designs, well, I like to go backwards. I like to come around the back. So I would go up and across. The reason for this is to minimise, let me just put this stone block back so we keep our separation. We minimise the width of the fire of the cannon. Basically, we keep it nice and thin, which gives you a less frontal area and therefore less chance of being hit. You've got to create less area for your all your items. Right, now we're getting to a point where we can start adding. We want to maximise. You've got all this wasted space. Now this is the key. How do we use this space in the centre for our vehicles, to maximise their usage? Now the way I tend to do it is a couple of ways. You can try and attach ammo boxes, etc., directly to these points. But what I would recommend is you stagger. If we take this down now, take this back a little bit. You don't need all of it. Is where you've got connections, you stagger your ammo loaders. So do a manual, stagger on the side, one there and one there. Now when I get an ammo box and put it into those blocks, it automatically connects to the relevant firing piece at the top, rather than the alternative is if I was to put it here and now add an ammo box, it's gonna just basically still follow the same pattern of which firing piece it's going to connect to, 4504. So if I do the same again, I'm guessing it's going to connect itself up and go to 4504. So they all go to whichever was the first firing piece, or the most in order, the first firing piece to be put down. So by staggering your ammo boxes, and then in this other gap you could say just either put a normal, say, an explosive in there. That way you've got equal, and both barrels end up equal, because they've got the same number of ammo connectors. Around the back you'd do the same, or not use, depending on the space you've got available. If you've got this space available, you'll just replicate that around the back. And this is how you can end up with a reasonable double cannon, which with identical abilities on each cannon, without having to worry about, let's just set this to 5, there we go, we'll set it to 1 just for the moment, without having to worry about it being different in some way. Where are we? Where's that thing? It's obviously not on there. There we go. Can I take control of this, please? Ah, there we go. That'll work. So there we go. We're both now synchronized. And the blocks. Again, these blocks at the back, if I just go in here, I could remove them and again put one down. Now, one thing in the center, you don't lose that, because what you could put in there is a predictor. It doesn't matter which one that tech connects to. It's going to connect to the one which is the most recent, but that's still going to work. Down the center here, again, you're going to have to decide which way you're going to do. Now, I've tried doing connectors by facing the particular way when you put them in, and you can see that they do change, so you can decide which one to do. But what I've found is, if you repair this gun, when I don't know if this is a thing, when it gets repaired for any reason or spawned in, these seem to reset back to normal settings, so you lose that function. So I would, where you've got better tools like that, don't rely on the facings. That's just personal. I don't know if it's correct or a bug, or if that's intended, or just, but you can go and try and face them, but I found they do out unbalance. But that's how the basics of creating a double cannon system. Okay, so what about a quad system? Well, a quad system's almost identical. All you're doing is you're putting a separation between the front and the rear. So using this one as a model, if we just start, we'll take this one apart just for the moment. Just nice and quick. I'm making a bit of a mess on the there. They'll disappear in a little while. Luckily, there we go. Right, so if we were to make this a quad gun, we've got a couple of ways. One is like creating a cage, or separating it out into each area. So we'll use, once again, stone blocks. And all you have to do, I say all, that's easier, it's definitely easier. I would, again, start by separating out your quadrants. So you stop the initial issue with connectivity. I would go a little higher on your guns here, because you might need a bit more space, but it's not necessary. I'm going to do it on here. Obviously, if you're going for a quad gun, you don't make them big. There's no point in having a small quad gun. That's a bit pointless, really. But one thing you need to allow for on your guns is the rear gun. It has got to be at a different height. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is also going to be 4, but it's got to start one lower. Now here you can't go backwards, obviously, because you're going to go into the other gun's quadrant. So here we're going to have to go sideways. Now this is the bit where it's tempting to make the rear gun separate or different. I'll show you one other type of gun as well, which is also possible to create. So if we put the firing pieces in, where are we? Custom cannons, firing piece. There we go. So here we have your basic quad barreled gun. Now I've actually used that. If you look at my Turtle Cruiser, I think it's on the Steam Workshop, it uses a very similar design to this, and I've done exactly the same. So now you're going to do exactly the same as you did before. You've got one area. Now one thing you can do is, if you separate this a little bit further, you can again put in your ammo box in here. So you can either try putting them in by pointing them one left, one right, etc, etc. The other way of doing it is using your auto loaders and manual. Put one that way and then okay, that's that one wrong, bear with me, like here, that way, so it's pointing out. Then the other way, rotate that direction. Wrong way around, bear with me. Having a moment with the keyboard. So let's copy that here. So that one, we won't worry about that one. This one down here, because we've got 4, needs to rotate all the way around. And let's put the same in here. It's been a bit of a pain with the mouse at this second. There we go. Now as we put ammo box on the ends, they will automatically, they should go 427, 412, 427, 472, sorry, 4012, so they automatically sort themselves out. And down on the end you could just put normal weapons, so you're not losing that space. You use it for an auto loader system on there. I mean, you do the same on all of the angles potentially. Just put auto loaders on there and just have them staggered, and that would use that space adequately, and you wouldn't lose any. Okay, little edit there. So what if we wanted something rather large? We've done 2-barrel gun, 4-barrel gun. What about a 6-barrel gun? It's the same process. All you've got to do is make sure you keep everything separated. Now in this case I actually start with the middle gun. So I would set the process down for the middle gun, but now we have to allow for the fact that all the other firing pieces cannot touch any of these blocks. So what we actually use is some wooden block or metal blocks to put the firing pieces on. Now it's going to be staggered somewhat. It's not going to be exactly level, but that's fine. We're just going for maximum firing pieces. So here, whoops, wrong place. Put one there, there. You see that staggered up and back one. We'll just put some barrels on them so you can see how they stick out. But it's exactly the same process. Just know where everything is connected and keep them even, and don't let the 6 ways connect. It's like the old don't let the beams cross. Just keep them all separated from each other. It's a little bit more difficult, obviously, with so many areas. Now, what I would recommend is you've got to give yourself a bit more room on a gun like this. There's no point in trying to be too tight on the space you're going to use. And the other thing I do is I tend to come back underneath. So here, you'll notice this has now come back to be on this, effectively got like a stalk. And I do the same on this one, except I go out one, so it goes to the back slightly, and then it has its stalk here. So that becomes its, I call it a stalk for want of a better word, but everything gets connected to there. On these ones, assuming this is the minimum sized area, we go out one, and again come down, and that's its stalk that everything it gets connected to. There's a good gap in between, so we shouldn't get, oops, actually that's the wrong place, bear with me 1 second, I missed that by one. It should be there, there, come down, out one, and then the rest is down. This is assuming that this level just here is where your deck is, and it goes through the deck, yeah, at that particular level. So now we can just continue this on. This one here as well, down, comes out, and then creates its stalk. And then we're just following the same process we did previously of where things are close, such as this point. We'll just do this final one here so that you can get the idea of where everything goes. There's a little bit more wasted space. Most of a 6-barrel gun, you're going to make it big. If you're going to do this, make it big and put most of it below the deck. So most of that way you can keep it all under control and you can work out where everything's supposed to go. So as you can see, they've all got a good area to be able to connect their weapons on. This central ones can go here, rear one here, and inside. These two, where you have the joining, you again use the manual stagger your auto loaders up to that point. So we've got 2 on each of them there. Now when we put the ammo boxes in on each of the items, they connect correctly and equally up to each gun. So yeah, a little bit, oops, I've got one wrong here somewhere. That goes there, that one goes there, okay. I think I've gone a little bit lower on one side than the other. No, it doesn't matter at the moment, I'm just giving you an idea. So that all works well. So okay, why would you build a 6-barrel gun? And the same on the back and the front, even it out, etc. Why would you do it this way? Okay, well, let's go and have a look at an example. So this is a 6-barrel gun. If we come off of the control at second, there we go. So as you can see from the front, it almost looks like 1 barrel. Now I haven't got many gauges on this, but you could put a few more on this and then protect this area. So as you can see, everything has a defined area. 2 sides have got intermingled alternate firing connector. My brain has got me. Excuse me 1 second. It's ammo auto loaders, alternating auto loaders and ammo barrels. The rear and front have got an equal amount. They're also symmetrical, so they've got the same number of all the items. So now when you fire something like this, you can, it hasn't got a great elevation, but when it fires, everything also automatically fires as if it was almost like one big bullet. So when they hit, they're gonna, and if you increase the accuracy, these are all gonna fire as if they were one nice big hit in one area. So if you can imagine, if you made this very accurate, very big gauge, oops, all the other guns are firing, I've moved a little bit too far away. It's going to hit in a defined area very well. Also very easy to cover. What I mean by that is you could put metal beams over the barrels to protect them. Where they are in status here, if you put, where are we? Blocks, metal beams over these areas. Where are we? Oops, I'm not editing that at the moment. There we go. Around here. And then follow that forward. That will basically stop them getting damaged, and you can have one set of beams protecting all 6 barrels. And ultimately, once you'd finished with it, let me just get this sort of sorted. Obviously you'd only have it to the end of the whichever is the shortest barrel, which I think is going to be about there, so we'll just cut that off there and come underneath. I'll just do the end for the moment. This is almost looking like one big barrel now coming out the end of this here, but it would fire, you know, be protected and fire quite nicely. Yeah, I think that would work in a really big ship. I might do this in a very large ship that I've got planned at the moment, a battleship type of vessel. This would fire quite nicely. Oops, come on, up you come. There we go. You can see that that's firing quite nicely and going to be hitting for quite a bit of damage, especially if you continued this to its, you know, you take this down and put a significant amount of ammo barrels, etc., below this area. Anyway, that's my custom barrel little walkthrough and designs for the more advanced custom barrels. So 6, we did 2, 4 and 6. Obviously you could just use the 3, take out the rear ones and just have the front 3 here on this design and just have these front 3 barrels, but I just thought I'd do a 6 barrel design just to see how it that you can have them very close together, almost appearing to be one big cannon. Hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about the cuts in there, went a little bit wrong at places, but hopefully it's been of some use. So until next time, have fun.